On our show, The American Dream, we love talking about the real estate market. Not a better town to talk about than America's finest city with the #1 realtor team down there, Chad Dannecker. Good to have you here on the show. What's going on, man?
Thanks, Craig.
Now we're going to get into some economics here on what's coming up in San Diego. So Gary London, you're going to be joining us to talk in about just some of the, you said, what was it, kicking the dirt of new construction or something along those lines?
Sure. I'm sort of a kick the dirt economist.
Kick the dirt economist. So tell us about this let's start with Gary, the downtown dirt.
Well, the downtown market has been obviously very robust for many years.
Sure.
And we've built a ton of residential housing for that same period of time. But now what we're seeing is, in addition to the residential housing that's still going up, and we have thousands of more units that are going to be added to the inventory this year, we are now seeing the beginning of an office development cycle. So we're going to presumably see job growth in downtown.
Okay.
Which is a big deal because we have literally not seen a new office building built in downtown San Diego for this entire century.
Hold that thought. On the residential side, now a lot of these, Chad, are apartments, correct? Renting that are ultimately going to get converted to condos?
2 condo towers right now. One just completed in the Pacific Gate, and then Savina's still under construction.
Okay.
No other condo towers. But I think Gary makes an amazing point because downtown's always had a reverse commute. People driving out to like Sereno Valley area and other areas in San Diego.
Absolutely, you're right.
And there's not even 100,000 square feet of contiguous office space in downtown. So we finally have a couple office buildings coming in with upwards of 160,000 square feet of contiguous space, which finally could add the jobs that we need to make downtown that live, work, play community.
Inventory is still really low on the residential side, right?
So it depends. If you are on the lower spectrum, the lower price range, below $1 million, inventory is still tight. As you get up over $1 million, we're definitely seeing the inventory climbing, getting upwards of 1.5 to 2 years supply of homes up in that $1.5 to $2 million range.
Okay, back to the office space. So these buildings are going up that are essentially going to be for businesses that want to lease the office space?
Yeah, the reason I bring it up is exactly what we were just talking about, is that there's been sort of a disconnect between people who live downtown and the ability to work downtown. We're trying to sort of rebalance that, and that's a big deal for the residential market. Once we get more places to work and more companies coming in to occupy those spaces, then that portends sort of a good opportunity for more people to live downtown.
So what do you feel like the next 2 to 4 years look like?
Well, we're definitely at the top of the real estate cycle at this point. So I think that I can't predict when the cycle ends, but we're tapping along the top of the cycle right now. We're not going to see huge increases in pricing. We'll probably see some slowdown in sales, particularly at the high end. I think we're already experiencing that. So yeah, we're at the top of a long, prosperous economic cycle.
So what about the look of the city? You know, about 2 weeks ago, I was out on a sailboat looking back in, and San Diego feels like a big town when you're in it, but when you look at it from the outside looking in, it's not like New York City, it's not like San Francisco, but it's certainly a more desirable place if you ask me. What do you think the future of downtown looks like? I mean, we're going to keep putting up these high rises. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, all you can do is put up high rises, and
it's going to keep moving east. I would
imagine. And the government wants you to. They won't even allow anything small anymore. And most of the land that's still available is in the East Village. Yeah. But there's still properties on the west side that are going to be developed or redeveloped. In fact, the biggest project that we have going on in downtown San Diego right now is an 8-block site right on the harbor, which is the Pacific Gateway project. So that's a mixed-use hotel, office, retail, park, that sort of thing.
So what do you see happening in real estate? What would your advice be for buyers looking for the right areas to get into?
Well, here's the thing. You look at downtown as a whole and what's happening.
Yep.
You look at the office buildings coming in, which brings jobs. You look at all the economic development going on with the Manchester project, the Seaport Village project, the Convention Center expansion project, the UCSD, the Ritz, and on and on and on. You've got probably $6 billion lined up to come in without the smaller infill projects. That's going to have a positive impact on lifestyle and amenities, which will attract more people.
Sure.
But in terms of if we're at the top of a cycle, cycles do what cycles do. So yeah, we may go flat for a little bit, especially with interest rates coming up here in September again. We're expecting another raise to interest rates. So I think would you agree that it's kind of a normal economic cycle that, we flatten out for a little bit, every, business fills in, things get a little healthier in terms of...
It's a bit of a Rubik's Cube, right, Gary? I mean, with rates going up, that's one factor, but you're also talking about all these buildings going up, which are going to attract more people, so you're increasing demand.
Yeah.
So that'll at least create some support underneath whatever that dip might look like, right?
Oh, I think so. Listen, when developers decide they're going to develop, it takes several years for that to happen. So what we're seeing come on the market now were first conceived at a point in the economic cycle where there was nowhere to go but up.
Yep.
Timing is everything. I think that we are going to see a lot of inventory that will have a flattening effect on prices and on rents as well. So it might be a very good time to look for opportunities if you're a buyer out there.
Okay. What about advice to sellers, Chad? In case someone's trying to move out of downtown, how would you encourage them to take the next steps?
So it's really simple. It's really about timing and their needs in life.
Yep.
So, every seller's got the mentality, we had years where we had 15% increases, and then last year was a 5.8% increase. But sellers want to position themselves 10% out in front of the last sale. And that's not the market we're in anymore, especially if you're over $1 million in downtown. So you just have to look strategically at where should this home sell, and you want to price it just above that, not 10% above that. Because properties positioned well will sell.
Obvious why you are the #1 team downtown. Chad Dannecker, visit him at welcometosandiego.com. Gary London, thanks for coming on the show and giving us some good knowledge here today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, guys. More of the American Dream coming up next.